of the day to you.
Good morning, life changers. Welcome.
Always about life changing.
That's exactly right. Today is a biggie. Why? Because it's about communication. Now, communication is
the hardest.
Yeah.
And it's the hardest skill to continually upkeep and keep up with, because we think we've got it, but then we really don't.
And then you have to adjust because everybody's got a different style of communication. Like there's a lot in mastering communication. And if anybody ever thinks that they are the absolute master at it, I promise you there's always more to learn. There's always more to learn on communication all the time. But before we get into this, we will go through our regular rigmarole here.
Because we can,
and we will. That if you hear something today about communication that blows your mind, throw in that hashtag, holy jumpin' tuna fish, because that's how we know that we have expanded your mind somehow or done something, or maybe it's just we said something silly and you find it humorous. But either way, throw in that hashtag or throw in the little tuna fishies because we enjoy them as well.
I haven't seen one of those in a long day.
No.
I like those little emoji cons. Oh, that's not what they're called.
No, they're emojis.
Emoji cons.
But
I always call them emoji cons.
Yes.
That's right.
Also, share this out if there's somebody in your life maybe that would like to know a little bit more about communication, or really, I think everybody can.
Everybody can. So just really share it with your family, your enemies.
Yeah.
That's a real key important one.
You got any exes?
Your friends, employees, to yourself, and of course, strangers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, sharing is in fact caring. It is. Yeah, it absolutely is. And then we want you to remember that we are life changers hashtag as well. That's something to keep in mind all the time, that every single human being and animal and being on this planet has the opportunity to be a life changer. And hopefully we're taking that opportunity to make it a positive life change for somebody, whether it be a kind word, whether it be doing something nice for someone, whatever it might be. You do have the opportunity every day to impact somebody's life and to be a life changer.
And the ability, because this is the blessing that each human has, is in a moment we can make a decision to have an attitude of, I'm going to go this route, or I'm going to stay in this route.
Yeah.
And of course it's always a choice, but always choosing, okay, I'm going to do this today, or even when it hits you, I don't want to, but being able to readjust it. Attitude is pretty amazing when it comes to being able to get to the place that you're wanting to have that purposeful peace and who it is that you are.
So true. And just so you know too, we like to know what life changers we are talking to. So let us know who you are and where you're from, and throw it in the comments there so we can do a quick shout out to say hello as well.
And remember, it's communication. So if you're watching, see, because we don't know who you are.
No, we can't see that.
We want you to communicate with us and tell us, because we love when we see those names.
Yes, I'm here. Those nice things. And then, of course, if you're catching this on replay later, throw in replay as well so we know to come back and say hello to you. Alrighty. So, and I guess communication, another point of that is knowing who you are hearing from. So my name is Carolyn Charles. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing, as well as an instructor and facilitator for the Equine Connection, the Academy of Equine Assisted Learning, Inc. I should always breathe before I start that piece. Good morning, Jen. You go.
Oh, sorry. I thought she was still saying something else.
I just said good morning. Well, now I'll say good morning to Brenda too.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Carrie Fulnick, the founder of the Equine Connection and master instructor, helping humans globally around the world do the most purposeful, fulfilling, humbling privilege of a job on earth. It's kind of like when you have a baby and you say, oh, mine is the cutest baby on this earth, but it's not. But we feel that it is because we gave birth to the child. I was actually one of the opposite moms. I saw that one of my babies. I'm like, oh, you poor little thing. I'm going to put makeup on you when you're older. And she turned out to be gorgeous. But, I'm just saying that it's not just because we run the Equine Connection that we say these words in this life-changing career, but it really does. You smell these horses every day. You get to work with these horses every day. It's the welfare of the horse that we always put first, and it's the foundation of our certification. But then how it rolls is you're actually making a living, running a business with horses, but you're helping humans to be able to make the change. And that's where the beautiful piece of how it all comes together, because when you see a human make a change right before your very eyes as a certified facilitator, it's actually breathtaking. And it's very humbling, because we all know working with horses,
Humbling.
You can't get a big head. I don't care who you are, you cannot get a big head. But it's such a privilege to see that human make an adjustment and change within in a moment. That's why I love these exercises, because the humans change in the moment, because that's what they have to do, giving them that ability to make the changes when they're away from your arena. So yes, it really is. I still wake up and I go to the arena, I breathe it in, and I'm always like, wow, I can't believe for how few people in this world really get to do what they love, that I get to do this every single day. Like, I'm really so grounded, and it really is a privilege to be able to be a part of helping humans globally do something that they also love to do.
Yeah, we got a lot of people on here from the States this morning too. So Kristen, Texas, I'm going with, and then we've got Indiana, Lisa, and who's, oh my gosh, my poor eyeballs. Lamaris, and that you're from Florida too.
That's a
Very
cool
cool.
name.
And
We
all
love
weddings
Florida
and things
too.
Yep.
We saw is it the alligators?
Yep.
Okay, alligators in
Crocodiles.
Florida, or crocodiles? We went on a big tour with them. It was fun.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was, but you're in a plastic dewey,
boat.
or
like one of those ones, the fan boats.
Well, it's not a dewey. I don't even know what a
dinghy
dewey is.
A dinghy is the word. And it was a large dinghy.
Holy Toledo's! Like, I mean, all I would have to do is go tonk, and we'd be in the water with them, and then they would eat us.
But they did not.
They did not.
Yeah, very nice beings. Heidi's on too. Mike from New Mexico. So good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is lovely.
So this, in communication, we actually have one of the exercises, of course, that come with your certification course. And it really hones in on that communication. So the one thing I always begin with asking is, what are some of the communication skills that we're already using? So that we're very clear that even though we know them all, are we able to, of course, improve on them, which we do have to do, because communication is so hard. So we usually have our verbal.
That comes out first usually, because we're sitting there yapping at them.
Yeah. And then hopefully the other person is listening.
If somebody's talking.
And, you know, listening is one of the hardest communication skills that there is. There are some that are just born listeners. And I'm like, yes. I love you, because you just want to listen to the human, because here's the thing with listening to a human, they feel very valued when you actually give them the time to listen. And, you know, sometimes you'll meet that person who maybe stutters, or maybe takes a longer way around them explaining something to you. And sometimes us who are a little bit more impatient, we want to interrupt them. Mm-hmm. And that is never good, because if we can just breathe, what my secret is, I bite my tongue so that
calluses.
I really do, so that I don't interrupt. Because if you interrupt with your children, if you interrupt with your partner, if you interrupt with, you know, at work, what you're doing is really not listening, because you're already thinking of things that want to come out. So listening, whoo, that's a toughie skill.
Yeah. And listening to understand versus listening to respond.
Exactly.
Right. If you're already planning what your comeback is, then you aren't actually listening to what the other person is saying in the first place. But we're going to do a whole another live on the listening part too.
Yeah.
It's very, very important.
It's key. It will actually save your life every day, because it's such simple techniques that you can implement into anything that you do. So it's going to be really exciting when we do that one.
That'll be a good.
Of course, there's the observation skill as well, because sometimes what happens with all of us as humans is we can't see the forest through the trees anymore, because we're so in that understanding what it is we need to do. And what do we need to do? We need to be like a horse. What is a horse? You know, the more we keep studying and learning horses, it's so exciting. But thinking of a horse always believes himself as, well, because it's true, I'm going to be killed. So he is always on the lookout, because he knows something is after him to kill him. As humans, though, we are focused on the kill. Yeah. So like focused on the job, or focused in, you know, balancing our lives, whatever the case is. Yeah, not literally. But understanding that piece. For horses as well, their key in survival is, guess what? Forward movement. It's not backing up. It's not going in the past. Key for survival is to move forward. That's how a prey animal can move and feel safe again. Even in flight, it's always moving forward. But guess what? We as humans got to do exactly the same thing. So when you're stuck in that forest through the trees, through the trees, is that idea, get up and move. Because then you can come back again and you see it in a different light.
Yeah.
And I know I'm a checklist person too. I just want to get it done so I can take it off my checklist. But oh man, when it's so stuck and we're so focused and we see nothing else, it's really better to leave it, go do something else and come back again.
The other side of communication and observation is making sure that when you're starting a conversation or when you're getting into something that you're taking a read of the room, right? It's like, know what the time is to have the conversation. If someone is stressed to the nines or is moving around or making dinner or making breakfast or whatever it is, if they're all kind of going around, observe what's actually happening before you start a deep conversation. Because if that person is not in the place to have that conversation right now, it's not going to be great communication on either side, right? So making sure that observation piece, just even in strictly having a conversation on its own, is in place. And then even observing people while you talk to them and body language, because body language is huge in communication. It's majority of what is told to the other person in a conversation comes through your body and your facial expressions. And we've all had that person that we're talking to before and their face is kind of like, they got the one raised eyebrow or they got the crossed arms or something like that. What kind of conversation you're in at that moment, right? So taking the opportunity to observe what the body language is and really checking into what your own body language is too. What are you putting out there as far as, are you open into having this conversation? Are you pissed off? Are you judging people? What is it that you're putting out in your body language as well?
Even understanding with that body language, but I want to go back to what you said with that listening piece as well, because we all do this as humans, but we know too, crossing your arms, sometimes it's a real comforting. It's a comforting piece. It feels good. So we know it's not always those specific meanings. You can't just nail specific things down, but the other parts of their body do go along with it. And what do horses do? It's pure body language. We know through their each verbal sound is part of their survival as well. And it all means something completely different, but they're not always in verbal. They communicate every single moment through their body. So it's understanding each component of the body, and the same with human. When Carolyn was saying before with this, observation or even that listening piece, one habit that I know I started making, I'm not sure if you have, but this has happened to me like ever since I started equine assisted learning, is what I would do is before, when I used to cook and the girls would come in and speak to me, because I had I still have 3 daughters. I still do.
They're still around.
They're still around, but it was so imperative during their teenage years to me, all years, but teenage years, that I needed to be there for them in their growing up world. And it all had to do with communication. So being a normal human, I would cut the vegetables while they were talking to me. Once I understood how it's so important to give value to a human by listening to them, when the girls started to talk to me, I dropped everything. So I would not cut those vegetables anymore. I would literally look at them in the eye so that I could hear what it is that they were saying. That helped us out. Like, we are a very tight chick family. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful way to be. It's the same thing if I'm with anybody and they've got a phone in their hand, because this irritates me so much that we're always putting up this phone in front of people. I look all around me. I see people on phones. I'm like, what are you doing? You got a human right in front of you. Why are we putting so much time and energy into this phone? But if someone pulls out a phone in front of me as I'm talking, I stop. If someone's sweeping, well, I was talking, like they thought, oh, I can do 2 things at once, because you can't. You always think you can, but you're not listening. You're not giving that human the value that they deserve. I actually just stop. And so I know sometimes people say, no, I'm listening while I'm sweeping. I'm like, nope, I know you're not, even though you think you are, but I'm strong enough to now know what I need what the other human needs. They just don't know it yet. So I actually wait until they're done everything before I finish doing my speak.
Or being the busy one. If you are chopping the vegetables or you're doing the sweeping, saying that just give me 1 sec to finish this up and then I can give you my full attention, right?
Yeah.
And that's one thing I definitely do. Because if I have to finish an email or something like that and my daughter comes blowing in the door and she's like, I have to make sure that I'm like, okay, just give me just 30 seconds to finish this up. Then I can give you my undivided attention, actually pay attention to the words that are coming out of your mouth. But even for us, we do that where we'll say, I'm not listening to you right now.
Like we're honest.
Yeah, we're a little blunt with it maybe, but I'm not listening to you yet. Or I listened to no words that you just said. I need you to say it for me one more time. But when you have that honesty piece with if you've actually heard somebody or not, it saves you later, because we've all been caught in that, like where somebody keeps talking, you're like, what are we talking about?
I forgot. I went fishing.
Yeah, exactly. So it is really important to have the listening side again. And then, like you were saying, that eye contact is huge. And I know you said that to your girls too, if they would ask you to do something.
Yeah.
Was I looking you in the eyes when I gave you this permission?
That's right.
They don't count if I wasn't looking at you. So you should know better. But all of those pieces are so imperative to communication. And of course, I mean,
we can't do it every day. There's just some days you're just going to not be in the mood to put in that effort. And that's just normal because we're human.
Yeah.
Like we are human, but striving to become those better communicators, that is the key to our entire life. I want to do this. How can I help you? It's actually humans actually saying what it is that they want with integrity and honesty so that you can build that relationship. I know the last one that we always talk about is clarification. Now, and for all of you who are clarifiers, kudos to you, because it's such a cool gift that naturally to clarify. So I have the 3 daughters, of course. My middle daughter drove me crazy her entire life growing up. I want you to understand that. But I never tried to change her. But what she always wanted to do was clarify everything. As soon as she could speak, she was clarifying. I'm like, oh, dear me. So we have a rule at our farm, and how that rolls is as soon as you turn 16, you are getting your driver's license and you are driving on a stick shift. There is no options at our house, because I always vowed that when you understand how to drive a stick, you're going to be able to help somebody somewhere in your life because you were trained in the stick, right? So it's very important. So anywho, they're 16. Why do I want them to have it? So at their age, because I want them to go to the grocery store now. I have done enough as a mother going to the grocery store. So I want to send my daughters out. So of course I send out Riley, honey, can you go grab me some tomato soup? She gets to the grocery store. What does she do? Takes a picture of every single tomato soup that exists under the sun. I'm like, oh, dear me. But again, I never want to I want to always appreciate her gift, her gift. So of course I say that Campbell's tomato soup now, but here's the epiphany or the aha that's so amazing. What she is now is a registered nurse. And I'm like, look at the gift that she naturally had that I didn't understand, because I don't clarify, which would save me a heck of a lot of problems. If we even clarified, we think we know what we're talking about sometimes.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious when we get halfway through a conversation, we're both like, wait.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Different planet, different world is where we're at.
And we train people in communication. So we're actually pretty good at it.
Yeah,
but we still need work too.
Well, we're just human.
Yes.
But you always want a registered nurse to always clarify with the doctor how much of what. So it really is cool to bring in those ingredients into anything that you're doing in communication. And you've got a dream. If you've got a dream of what it is that you want to do and be in your life, tell it.
Yeah.
Say those words. Like, let someone know. Write it down. Do things that are helping you to communicate with who? Me, myself, and I. Because as humans, remember, we do so much thinking that we forget to go to our intuitive piece, where a horse is intuitive. Intuitive always, because they're the feelers of the beings. That's where they can feel when things are off on a regular basis. We as humans, and with our brain and our prefrontal cortex, we have lots of thoughts And then when we go to the field, they're like off balance because
Yeah.
we want to have our dream. But I can't. No, I don't have money.
Doubt.
Oh, what would people think of me? No, I'm too old to do this. So you see, we're always at a conflict within. So communication within ourselves is super important.
I like Kristen's comment here too. She says, agreed, multitasking is not actually even possible, but we've been taught that it is. And
I know.
And like as a strong piece of ourselves that we can multitask, right? But it's actually just a series of multiple quick change acts. That's very
well
true.
Said.
Yeah, very, very true. The other piece of communication is boundaries. Boundaries is huge in communication. And the last couple of years have really messed with people in how to properly communicate for many reasons. First of all, I know I realized how deaf I am.
Oh, so am I.
Yeah,
oh
I do a lot of lip reading.
That mask thing,
very hard.
I can't hear you. I can't because I can't see your mouth. I can't see nothing. And then I got hair and I got big ears, but it's just not helping me to hear.
But the regular spacing for people to be able to speak is like 2-3 feet, right?
Yeah,
That's not this. So this is just because this is where the camera makes us sit. But it is a nice, comfortable place within that. 6 feet is not a normal way that people can communicate. And it's not a normal way we hear each other. It's not a normal way we see each other. So it's been kind of a challenge with all of those pieces. A very big challenge. And if you add Zoom into all of that and all of these different other ways that we've been having to communicate that aren't as natural to us as a one-on-one conversation can be, because I don't know about you, but the rule always was that like if we had an issue with someone, I would much rather talk to them on the phone, or a big issue, I want to see you face to face to talk this through kind of thing. And that kind of went away for 2 years, right? So figuring out those boundary pieces is really difficult in communication. When you bring in horses have a huge boundary that they can communicate in as well. We have to adjust for our horses too, to make sure we're not mauling them with love and stuff like that. So they have the space to be able to communicate as well. Well, space is big.
It is. It's absolutely huge. And another parallel, we have so many parallels to these beautiful prey animals, but they're a social being. Like horses couldn't survive, and they don't survive. That's why anytime you see one horse anywhere and you're like, oh my gosh, my heart aches for that being, because as a prey animal, always feeling they're going to get killed, because the number one thing they need to feel is safe. And then you have one horse. That has got to be one of the scariest places to live on earth. So they're social beings, but oh my gosh, we're social beings. We do need to touch.
Another one.
Communication. Yeah. That is huge. We do need to have that touch piece. Not creepy stuff, but hey, great job today. Yeah. I remember when we first went into lockdown, she came in after. And I think it was the 2 weeks. And she was literally crying. I need you to hug me.
Yeah, I had nobody, and it was so sad, and I needed a hug immediately. So I actually did have to say, Carrie, I need a hug, because touch is important. And even I worked as a waitress for quite a few years to get through college and stuff like that. And touch as even that kind of, and again, not creepy touching, but yeah, I'll get that right away for you. And then just heading out. I tell you, if you are in that field, that makes a huge difference as far as the tips that you get. I mean, provide good service too. You can't provide shoddy service and then touch people. That won't work for you either. But it really made a connection with people. There's a different connection when we have touch involved. And that's something else that for the past couple of years has not been something we've been able to implement in the same way. But it is a form of communication for people, right? That's why in a relationship, there needs to be some sort of intimacy within that, right? To have a different kind of relationship. So touch is very, very important. And again, a little different for horses. They don't require the same
touchy-feely like we do. But they have their own way to communicate. Hey, we're friends. Let's groom together. Let's help each other be more balanced, because we're going to move all that energy around for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like that. So I was thinking we should have them, because I really like this. Is there something, I don't know, that you had an aha moment on, and just some ideas that you can implement? Or do you have things that you're already doing to help yourself improve upon, little tips or tricks in your communication style, or what has worked, or I don't know. I know Jane from
Australia
I'm gonna have to go get water. It's
Do you want to
very
sip with
dry
my
in Alberta.
iced coffee?
Oh, okay. I get very excited
Yeah.
about it.
So here, that's my pride and joy that I just offered her. She's like, okay.
That's very sweet. Sorry. What she would do during their lockdown as the family is they would always sit down at the table and they would go around and ask what they were most grateful for in that day. I gotta get water.
Yeah, you go grab it. I don't actually know the rest of the story.
But that was it.
Oh, that was it. Okay. So, so as Carrie chokes and hopefully does not die, but with that communication piece, I was going to talk about a little bit about communication styles, because different people require different things from communication. And the fact of the matter is that once you start to get familiar with how other people communicate and listening to particular words that they're using to try to, mirror that back a little bit so that you're able to speak their language, communication can be really, really fantastic, but it does take that listening piece to hear where other people are at as well.
Let's do an example.
Okay.
Because I'm always a demo person. So to me, if you see it and understand what it is we're saying in this two different kind of words, this does help you out with all humans. Like, it's phenomenal.
Huge. Yeah.
So which way do you want to do it?
I was going to say, I'm not 100% sure how this is going to go.
Okay.
You go first.
Okay.
I'm sure I'll pick it up.
So what were you thinking when you went home last night and you had this to do and then Cass came in and blah, blah, blah?
I don't really know about that. I was really feeling fairly overwhelmed by the time I got home, and it seemed like a whole lot. Like, and what were you feeling after the day?
Well, I thought it actually went pretty good myself because I just adjusted with the change that was happening.
Yeah, but did you feel good? Did you, where were you at that way? So now see, here's where things start to go off, because I'm not sure if you guys noticed the difference in speech here. Carrie used think, thought, those types of words, whereas I was using feel, feel, feel. Now, as she's getting to that last statement that she made there, where I thought it all went pretty good, I had just said I was feeling overwhelmed. I'm like, what? You thought it went good. Well, did you feel happy about it? Or what? Where do you not have a soul? Feel something, woman, right? So just listening to those think versus feel are huge things that you can implement into conversations with other people so that you're actually speaking their language and understanding what they're saying in a different way as well.
And that is the beauty with the feelers of our world. I love that, because even if I throw out a think question to a feeler, they naturally and automatically say, well, I feel it went good, or I feel it didn't go so hot. They throw back in their feel. So I like that. But if I have someone continually asking me the feel questions,
what had I continued? Like, what were you feeling?
Now I'm going to say I'm annoyed, because I really thought it went really good. I wasn't at a, ooh, I feel this.
And I can actually hear this conversation.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I felt happy.
Yeah. Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah. Like, what do we get to hold hands and sing Kumbaya after this?
Exactly.
So it's, and again, it's not that everybody's all feel all the time, or everybody's all think all the time necessarily. But if you're listening to where that person is in that conversation, it can help a lot. Because if I had just kind of okay, she said thought twice, and I could switch it up to, okay, what do you think we could change for next time? Right?
That gets me excited.
And then it's a conversation. It's something different that I've brought in that's speaking her language. Or she could have said, I can totally see how you felt that way.
Yep.
And then I would feel validated in the way that I'm communicating as well. So just those two little words, very important.
It will help you tremendously. I'm hoping to see some tuna fishes there, because I think that
that's a good one, people.
Because I know even when I've gone for other certifications or workshops, I can tell you this. If I have the instructor or not counselor, or the person who's running it, the leader, continually keep asking me feels all the time, I actually start to lose respect for them, because they're not understanding where I'm coming from. So now I stop listening. And I'm sure it would be the same idea if you just had an analyzer thinker all the time who wasn't starting to understand some of those components in those feel areas.
Well, and like for myself, there's certain parts of my life where I'm a thinker, and there's certain parts of my life where I'm a feeler, right?
Yes.
But I remember trying to go for counseling at one point in life, and they kept saying back, well, how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? But I was in think mode, because I was cognitively trying to understand why my brain was wrong. Like, it was just my own brain.
I messed up, but I don't know why.
And I knew it was like a betrayal of my own brain in my head, right? Because it just didn't make sense. So I was trying to cognitively make sense of it. And I was in total think mode. Well, how did that make you feel? Well, right now I'm feeling pretty frustrated because you keep asking me questions that I don't have the answers to. And I get where they're going with it. But again, had it just been a couple questions on the think side, I might have calmed down a little bit to feel like I'm being heard with it as well. Mary, I love what you put in here too, is having endless frustration and not being heard. And it has been escalating into bad things happening. So with not being heard,
oh, it's so hard.
Ask for what you need.
Yes.
I need you to sit with me one-on-one, and I need you to just, as I'm saying things, just let me get to the end of my point. And then I need you just let me know what you heard that I said. And we'll talk about this with the listening one as well. But ask for what you need when you're in communication like that too. It's okay to say, I really need to know that you're picking up what I'm putting down here, or whatever your verbiage is that sounds like you, right? A lot of times we try to talk in like active listening cycle terms or different things like that, but it doesn't sound like us. So it comes off as a different, like a condescending way almost sometimes. But if you just ask for what you need in your own language, most people should respect that. And if they're not respecting it, that's another little, well, that's a red flag right there.
It really is. We just had a team building workshop that we held for a company here in the Calgary, Alberta area.
Through the mountains.
That's hilarious.
Oh, then you got the red flag.
So Carolyn goes out. Now, this is mainly men. So I think we had 6 women and like tons of men.
Yeah.
So they go out. Now here's communication. Now they have been knowing for 2 weeks they're coming to this team building event here at the Equine Connection. Because most of them, and they were very clear on it, were very foul that they were having to come here to do a team building event. They thought it was fooey and fluffy and all of this stuff that they had no idea about, even though human resources sent out the email to each human that they are coming to the team building event and what they're going to learn in this. So again, as soon as you see something, it's like your brain changes and you think you know what everything is about, and you don't. Because as soon as Carolyn went up to greet them,
one of the first things is, are you guys excited for the day? And they're like, well, we know there's something to do with horses, but I'm not sitting around and holding hands and singing Kumbaya. I'm like, no problem, because we will not be doing that today in any way, shape, or form.
We don't have that kind of ceremony here.
No, that's not our
service. So they were shocked by the end of the day and learning from horses. Of course, they were excited because, of course, we always have a briefing. Then we go into the arena and work with the horses, and then we bring it back into a debrief. Then we parallel it to their own life, to their work, and then they would usually leave. So here, this is how they all are as they begin the morning, like,
yeah,
so like stupid, blah, 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 blah.
Body language.
As soon as they get out with the horses, they come back, and then you start seeing their bodies change. Well, by the time we finished the entire day, because they left here about 4:45 at night, they were hands in the air, standing up and telling all the stuff that they learned through working with the horses. It was just so amazing. So communication is really huge in even how you type things and how you read things. Because I, as a driver personality, I die every time I get an email that's that long. Like, there is death that comes into my being because I am a bullet point person. I don't need to know full length stories.
Bullet points, like 4.
Yeah, where we're opposite. So she can handle that stuff, but if I gave her 4 bullet points, she's going to message me and say, but what do you mean with this one?
Yeah.
So I don't give her enough info.
Yeah. Then I would ask for more detail for sure. But again, this is part of understanding different people and what they need out of communication. Yeah. I know if I have a big thing going on that it's all going to hell, but it needs to get done one way or another. I know Carrie doesn't necessarily need the entire detail of how it has all gone to hell. She just wants to know, is it going to be fixed and by when? Right? So I can keep things pretty short, but she also knows there's going to be times that I have hit the roof with it and I am just completely overwhelmed and I need to get all that crap out too. And so she might get an email that's very long and I might understand she's only going to read the first and last paragraph of it. But sometimes she has to allow me those pieces too, just like I have to allow her to be who she is in communication and send just a couple bullet points that I can develop on if I need to. And majority of the time not overwhelm her with a whole bunch of detail that she really doesn't find that she needs, right?
I also find in text messages, because I don't know if I'm called a reactive person, but I will read a text message, and for some reason I've missed a couple words or just one word that changes the whole thing. And then if I react right away to it, usually the person will say, go back and read what I wrote. And I'm like, wow, Carrie, it was just a sentence. Like, you really couldn't because my frame of mind is in a different place. So now I'm starting to train myself is to read the messages, feel everything I'm feeling, but don't do anything. See, feel, because I have to feel that.
Yeah.
So then I go back to it later and I'm like, oh, thank gosh I didn't answer back, because now I read it completely different. So frame of mind in reading things is really, really crucial in your communication and understanding what it is that human is actually saying.
Now you just have to start reading your own before they go out.
Oh, boy. It's such a hard world of communication.
And people are going to.
Right?
Yeah. That's important as well.
I don't think anybody put up a little trick.
No tips or tricks.
Or not a trick, because there's no tricks in life. We're surviving life. It's hard life. So we need the tips to make it happen.
Yes, that's exactly right. We know there's people watching. We can see you. I mean, not who you are, but so we can't come after you for it. But
we just like it when, well, I don't know about you, but a long day ago, there was the Maytag repairman. I remember because Maytag is such a good, I guess, appliance brand, that he was very lonely because nobody ever called him to come and service their appliances. So you see, we're very
of communication unless you can get a response back. So here we do like the two-way form of communication. We like it when we get back from you guys and we know who's talking and we know who's watching and that kind of thing as well, because then it helps us to throw in a little bit more info there too.
Absolutely. But on that note, if I hope someone sends us something, but if you don't, that is all right.
Maybe we cut them all,
because it is what it is. We did got a hair.
Let's see what you do now.
Yeah, no,
you know we're live.
Because my hair falls out all the time, and you know it falls down your bra, and then you think there's a bug there. That's exactly what just happened.
Mary, I like this. Following your intuition is good.
Oh, so good.
Now, this also goes to know when you know a conversation is going nowheresville, and you can feel that piece. It's okay to chop it off right there and revisit it if you need to, or whatever else, something along those lines. But yes, following your intuition just with general relationships and in life is huge, but you can really apply that to communication too. And your gut will kind of respond to where that other person's at too if you're listening to it. If you've ever been in a conversation where you can feel the moment that you said something, that it goes sideways, you feel it. And you know that, okay, yeah, go with that. Maybe you need to backtrack a spec or clarify something. Clarification. Yeah, we talked about that.
Good. Tomato soup.
Mary says it's hay and you're wrong.
Oh, so true. Holy man, no matter how you do hay.
Always hay.
Yeah, always have hay. I just, even when there's no wind, there is hay on you and down your bra. Always, I've worn turtlenecks and hay gets into the bra.
Doesn't matter.
You men, very fortunate that you don't wear a bra. Yeah. I mean, unless you do, Mike. Well, then you would know where we're
Mike's
coming from.
Token guy on here.
He really is. He always is. I like that. So just to end off too, because it's communication, if there is anything that you're wanting to know about your dream career as well, and what it is that we actually do, and what it is that you can do, how you can work with your own horses and actually make a living. We've been doing this since 2008. And it's very, obviously, as you know, very, very rewarding, helping humans to be able to move forward and be empowered to do so because of a horse. And of course, not as humans, but of course, we're trained to understand what it is we are needing to do. Do you need a degree? Absolutely not. We are a certification that is all about life skills. Or if you already have, let's say you have a riding facility, but you want to increase your business in doing something else in addition to what it is that you're already doing. We also have a course that's called Business with Horses 101, and it is detailed. And at least the nice part with those courses is they're always yours to be able to refer back to anytime, especially if you're changing in your target markets. Definitely give us an email or email Carolyn.
Yeah, I'll throw my email up here. It's funny, even with listening, because when you said it is detailed, I thought you said it is the tilt at first. But I was like, what is the tilt?
What's the tilt?
Is that like off the hook? What is that? But it's detailed. Got it. And Mike has clarified he does not wear a bra.
Okay, that's good to hear, Mike. But we'd still love you even if you did.
Yes,
but
we'd accept you any way you come.
Maybe you want to do some experiential learning today. Just throw that bra-ski on.
A little training.
Because I'm sure Seinfeld had a little episode on the bra for men.
How has this come up so many times?
I don't know, but it has.
Bra?
But then you could really feel for us women who are having to wear them, because otherwise the old boob skis fall down to the knee skis.
And nobody wants that.
No.
Nobody wants to kick them.
No.
The other thing in communication as well is there's all that social media out there, but we have landed on TikTok, which is not a social media platform. It's an entertainment platform, which we adore. So please do, if you're on TikTok, go follow us on there as well, because we love it.
And we're fun. So in TikTok, if you're just having that day or you want to wake up in the morning and have a laugh, definitely follow us, because we're fun on TikTok.
It's not all serious and marketing and stuff. It's
heck no.
Lisa, this has been fun. I've learned a lot. First time, and I'll be back for sure. Oh, thanks
hey,
so much.
Nice to meet you, Lisa.
We got another one. And
it's
Mary,
fun.
Oh, so it's so good to see you as well, Mary.
Yes, it so is. Love you.
And Mike is going to try it while he paints today. So always a trooper.
Painting. Well, I don't think paint goes down the bra, but maybe yours will.
I don't know. Well, it's probably car spray. So maybe it does.
Maybe it does.
I don't know. You keep us updated and let us know on how that situation goes for you.
Everybody have an amazing, amazing week. Remember, you are a life changer. Even if you're not feeling it, you are unique. You're a gift. You have purpose, and you make a change in another human or living being's life every day. Really take time to recognize that in yourself, because you're pretty flipping cool. And we can't wait to see you back. And I think it's in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're off and about doing training next week. Then and then we've got a course. So I think it's 2 weeks we're off now, guys. And then we're back again too. So if you really miss us, go watch some of our other live TikToks on TikTok.